Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Richard Games. I'm your host, and I take excited ADV. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Edward Varnell. How are you?
I'm doing good with this full name announcement.
I know. I'm going to do it every time now. So.
Oh, good, goody moody. How are you?
Tired, but that's life, you know. Also, it's 10:30, so you know.
Well, Corey, I have a question for you.
No.
Is it time for new systems to appear on NSO as we get closer to another anniversary for the service in a few weeks? So by the time you guys see this, it will probably be, I think it's the third year for NSO
Something like that.
this year.
No, I think is it? I don't know.
Sure. I believe so. We have some systems out. We got Nintendo, Super Nintendo. We got the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. We got the Sega Genesis, and we got the N64 on NSO. So we got 6 systems with a lot of games still being released. And as we get closer to its anniversary, I was thinking about what else could come on this console that even before their next official console comes out, that they could put on this service.
All right. So are we just going to go back and forth then of like?
Yes.
Okay. So I actually think so. Nintendo just ventured into handhelds, right? Well, we haven't really seen, I mean, I'm gonna pick Game Gear. I think the Sega Game Gear. I mean, it's it's basically like the handheld 16-bit. Obviously, it was notorious for eating batteries like candy, right? So you couldn't really take it anywhere. But I think there's a lot of titles on that game that deserve some love that haven't really gotten a chance to shine outside of the Game Gear. I mean, I think there are some Game Gear games on that Sonic Origins Plus collection, which I still need to get. By the way, I've been wanting to play those games and I just haven't been able to. But there's a lot of great games on the Game Gear, and I think if you want to show the full history of the Game Boy, and obviously like Genesis was the competitor to Super Nintendo. I think if you want to show a competitor to Game Boy, I think the easy choice would be Game Gear. You've got a lot of great sports games on there, which I don't know if the sports games would carry over. You got a lot of Sonic games like Sonic Triple Trouble, the Master System remasters of 1 and 2. There's a lot of Sonic games on there for sure, and a lot of like there was some Disney games on there that were pretty good. There's a lot of great Game Gear games, and I think Game Gear would be a great console to add to that lineup. It would probably fall under the $50 version of NSO because of you're licensing out the Sega stuff, but overall, I think the Game Gear game system is great. I'm trying to look up some more. Sonic Chaos was another one. That was the other one I was thinking of. There was a really great version of Castle of Illusion on the Game Gear. There was a weird version of Mega Man on the Game Gear. I'm kind of going through here. Oh, there was a great Power Rangers game on the Game Gear. Shinobi 2. There's really bad Mortal Kombat 3 port on the Game Gear.
I remember the Mortal Kombat on Game Gear.
Fatal Fury Special for you, Ed.
I'm good.
Yeah, so I mean there's a interesting version of Streets of Rage on there. So yeah, I mean some of these games were basically like Master System and Genesis ports. There's a I think the Game Gear deserves some love. So Puyo was very popular. Columns was very popular. So, by the way, there was a turn-based strategy RPG called Crystal Warriors. What do you think that game played like?
Oh, good, good.
I'm not kidding. It looks like a terrible ripoff of Final Fantasy. So, anyways, that's my pick, Ed. I think Game Gear. You could even release some Game Gear Joy Cons. That'd be kind of interesting. Terrible idea, but interesting.
Oh, wow.
Man, that Game Gear D-pad was so bad. Do you remember the Game Gear D-pad? It was like this, just kind of like this wavy circle that, like, maybe I was pointing in the right direction. Also, I think this system was exclusive to Toys R Us, but the blue Game Gear. Remember the blue Game Gear?
I don't remember it. I've never seen the blue one.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, everybody, we got a exclusive. Corey is going to bring out something that I've never seen.
Because I have 2 Game Gears, and I'm trying to sell my blue one, but it doesn't really work, so like I have to sell it for parts. But yeah, blue Game Gear.
Wow, I did not know they made one.
Yeah, it's man, Game Gear kind of feels, it's a beefy boy. But yeah, man, blue Game Gear, man. I wanted one so bad. I had a black one, and then my cousin had a blue one, and then I ended up finding this one at like a yard sale or something.
Oh, nice.
But it doesn't work. So, rip. Game Gear, though, man.
Yes. Well, for me, TurboGrafx / PC Engine. And
I knew you were going to go there. I almost said TurboGrafx, but I figured you were going to say that, so I went Game Gear.
I went there because it was on Virtual Console on the Wii. Like, it was a big shock that, Nintendo will go out to Hudson Soft or whoever owned it at the time to get the system. So I would love for it to come back to be on Switch so people could play Splatterhouse and Dungeon Explorer and Ease, like 1 to 2, before people who recognize it now, the Ease series on and everything. Of course, I talk about Keep Courage and Alpha Zone, the Bruce Lee gang. Or was it Bruce Lee? I think it was Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. I think it's Bruce Lee, and stuff. Ninja Warriors, like it has a ton of it. And then Dracula X, from the CD version, TurboGrafx CD. You got Rainbow Sprites, which is kind of like a spinoff of Bubble Bobble in a sense. And I remember playing that game and everything. And you was attacking enemies with parcel. I think it's Rainbow Parcel, something like that, with an umbrella and everything. It was just so fun. Fighting Street, which was their version of Street Fighter 2. And stuff. Like, there are so many games on the TurboGrafx and / PC Engine, and some that just never came out over here. I remember playing Vigilante on TurboGrafx and being it there and stuff. Of course, you got Bunk. You got
Bonk. Air Bonk. Zonk.
Zonk, which is a game that I never got to play, and I always wanted to. They had a pinball game that was also popular on TurboGrafx, also. So, and just like the Game Gear, TurboGrafx also had a CD. Let me not CD. I'm sorry, a handheld and everything. And I could see the controllers come because the TurboGrafx had button 1 and button 2, but they also had rapid fire on them. So sometimes you had 3 selections of the speed of the rapid fire that you could use for it. So if Nintendo could put it off, I would love to see TurboGrafx slash PC Engine coming to. And they also had another release called Turbo Duo.
Mhm.
Uh, also in Japan. So I would love to see that come. So that would be mine. Corey, do you have another one?
Yep, sure do, Ed. I mean, sticking with the Sega theme, I think everybody wants a Dreamcast, right? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the easy answer. You could make some wireless Dreamcast controllers to sell. Uh, I mean, man, the list of Sega games, man, that you could put on that thing, right? All right, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Uh, I don't know how the licensing would work, but Marvel vs. Capcom. You could do Seaman. You could do Shenmue 1. 2 came to Dreamcast? Yeah, because it came to Xbox later.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Jet Grind Radio. You could do Phantasy Star with online functionality. Skies of Arcadia, Soul Calibur, Power Stone, Crazy Taxi 1 and 2. Um, I don't know how you could convince Sega, but you could get Street Fighter Third Strike. You could do let's see, Blue Stinger. You could do Ill Bleed, which are two pot very sought after by collectors, right? I mean,
You crap with fear.
uh, man, Dynamite Cop. You could do. Man, there are so many games. Virtual Fighter, Virtual Striker, Virtual Cop, Choo Choo Rocket. I mean, this thing can be endless. Like Sama de Amigo, Hydro Thunder, You could do an interesting version of Res on. Like, there's so many games, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could easily put 50, 40 or 50 games on the Dreamcast thing. I mean, even if you wanted to put like license out like NFL stuff or NBA stuff and put NBA 2K, NFL 2K, virtual tennis, stuff like that. Um, and I think there's not a very easy way to play a lot of Dreamcast games. I know Xbox Live Arcade has quite a few, uh, with some alterations and licensing stuff is kind of an issue, right? Like Crazy Taxi doesn't have the right soundtrack, and I know there's some issues with Jet Grind Radio where they can't really sell it on the console, but you can go through their website and buy it, which is a really strange kind of workaround.
Mm-hmm.
Both Sonic Adventure games on there, but you could buy the DX versions, so they're not really the Dreamcast versions. So there. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you can put Sega GT on there, Daytona, whatever. Uh, get third party licenses maybe, and get some like either like old Tomb Raider or Resident Evil games on there. Uh, there's a lot you could do, man. Dreamcast it's really hard to play Dreamcast games these days, and I don't know how hard the emulation is. I know that Saturn in particular is a really difficult console to emulate. I don't know about Dreamcast, but I mean, Dreamcast would be my pick 100%. I love the
All right.
Dreamcast, man.
I do too, man. It's so and we have so many episodes that we have talked about Dreamcast. Even standard definition, we did a historical talk about that
Hmm.
system and the games and everything. It's still to this very day, those games still look good and they still play so well
I
on
know, man.
Dreamcast. Just
So,
like it's a sad system to go, but it's one of the most highly respected systems along with GameCube and stuff. Like it's an all time favorite for a lot of people who
mhm.
dived in.
Yeah. I mean, you could do like, I mean, there's a Echo the Dolphin. I'm just kind of going through this Dreamcast list real quick. Like, there are so many Dreamcast for only being out a year and a half. The Dreamcast had a ton of games, yeah, a ton of games. You could do like even the weird, like, remember that 18 wheeler game? I mean, I know Euro Truck Simulator is huge right now, but like 18
Uh huh.
wheeler
18
is
with a
kind of like,
truck.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Crazy Taxi version of that. Uh, oh man, some of these games like Alone in the Dark, you could do. There's a lot here, man. You could do so much. So that would be my pick is Dreamcast. I'm just looking at some of the games on here. I mean, you could partner with Disney. I know a lot of people like that Buzz Lightyear game that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's my pick. I feel like I'm rambling now. So,
Well, for me, um, while you pick the Game Gear, I'm going with the Neo Geo Color,
I knew you were coming
Pocket
out with
Color.
that. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, even though there are a lot of Neo Geo games coming out on Switch, due to Arcade Archive, the Pocket was only available for 2 years. Um, and it there wasn't many that were many not yeah there wasn't many games released and stuff. When it came out, it was $69.95. And it sold 25,000 units when it came out. And it hit America in June. Not June. It came out in America in August 6th, 1999, but it got discontinued on June 13th of 2000 and everything. So I think playing the Neo Geo Pocket, there are some great games on there that just a lot of people just never got a chance to play. I never seen it in stores. So I think people who would play it on Switch, I believe that this would be a lot of people's first time playing that library. For it, because I definitely for me, it'd be a first for me, and I would love to see how it plays for some of the games.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like all my picks are going to be like Sega related. I'm trying to pick a console that's not Sega related, Ed, but it's very. I mean, nobody really wants to see 3DO games on this thing. But what I will say is, I think a console that would be really interesting to see here would be the Atari Jaguar would be an interesting console.
Yeah.
Which was like Atari's kind of resurgence into the console market, which didn't do very well. Like they were boasting obviously like 64-bit graphics, and the thing is like it had a really cool controller, right? It had a D-pad, and I think it had like 6 face buttons and some triggers, but also it had like this dial pad on the front of it, which was like, I don't know if anybody remembers like the Magnavox Odyssey or ColecoVision or whatever, but they originally had like the dial pad on the controller, and you slid different cards in, and the different buttons would do different things based on what game you were playing. And if you didn't have the card, you just had to kind of figure it out. And it kind of reminds me of that, which, don't get me wrong, right? There are a few decent games on the Atari Jaguar, right? Like Rayman was there. The original one, the 2D platformer, which was pretty good. I know a lot of people love that Alien vs Predator game. There was a Pitfall game on them that people liked. Wolfenstein 3D got its first console release there. So like there were decent games there, right? Primal Rage, like it was
Primal Rage is so good. Yeah.
So that, there were some really interesting games there. But also you just had a bunch of garbage like Attack of the Mutant Penguins. I mean, come on, that game. Come on. Not very good. Also, there were the game I remember the most on the Atari Jaguar was Demolition Man, based off the movie with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes in it. It was very bad. FMV games were very big at this time, right? And so there was a lot of FMV games on there, and they just weren't very good. Like, I don't know if you remember the game Cybermorph. It was kind of like a mix of like FMV mixed with like something like Doom or Wolfenstein at the
Uh-huh.
time, and it was very bad. And I think it had some like Star Fox elements in it too. There's definitely like ship flying and stuff, so it was not very good. Um, but yeah, I think it would be. I think in terms of the history of video games, uh, like Atari Jaguar is something that often gets forgotten. Um, and kind of the end of Atari as we knew it, right? Because then they split into what Infogrames, and then another company bought the name rights to Atari, but
Yeah.
like some of the IP, and that's what that like 50th anniversary collection of Atari, what Atari 50, I was trying to think of the name, Atari 50, um, kind of is, right? Is like this history of Atari and kind of bringing everything back together. And their Atari CEO seems really passionate about like bringing Atari back into some sort of relevance, right? They had that color puzzle game called Colbrill. I forget what it's called. I gotta look this up. But it was like this really interesting puzzle game. Um, uh, so, and I really hope they kind of come back into some sort of modern, you know, kind
Mm-hmm.
of uh, yeah, modern thing. So yeah, I'm trying to. It's gonna bother me if I don't figure out what this game is called. Uh, Combinera is what it's called. Kombinera. It's on Switch. You can check it out. It's this really cool color game. So, yeah.
All right. Uh, for me, Corey probably already know where I'm about to go with this one. CDI. Uh,
Mm. Bring
this
Zelda
one.
back.
It was released in 1990 and is discontinued in 1998.
Mm.
Of course, everybody know the famous Legend of Zelda series that came to the CDI. Nintendo and Panasonic that's not Panasonic, sorry. Nintendo and Philips had a agreement of them bringing games over and creating games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I never got to see the CDI. I never got to play any of the games. So once again, it's another. They got Dragon's Lair on it, even though that I think you could buy Dragon's Lair on the arcade archive, but it has kind of a lot of games that I just never heard of and never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, it's a system that I would love for it to be on Switch, so I could experience the games that they brought to the platform. So
Yeah.
CDI for me.
Mm. All right, Ed, we're going back to Sega because I'm running out of non-Sega systems that I care about or have any interest in. So Sega Master System, um, which a lot of people may or may not have heard of. I think a lot of people kind of think of Genesis as Sega's first console, but it wasn't,
Mm-mm.
despite the name Genesis. Uh, the Master System was their 8-bit console that was kind of put out to take on the NES. And it actually had a lot of really kind of influential games, right? Like Alex Kidd in the Miracle World began there, and that was supposed to be kind of like their Mario game, which had some interesting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say they were great ideas, but there was some interesting ideas, and I know a lot of people still love Alex Kidd to this day. I think they just remade it at some point and put it out. Outrun was on there, which was a weird arcade port of of that. Um, but I think a lot of people think of like Enduro Racer, which was their Excite Bike kind of clone. Uh, Fantasy Star was like the big one though, right? I mean, that was like Fantasy Star was a big deal, right? Especially when
Yeah.
Fantasy Star 2 came to Genesis, right? Like that was like a huge deal. Um, and obviously like Fantasy Star turned into Fantasy Star Online. But like, man, could you imagine if Sega came out and said they're doing a AAA big budget Fantasy Star 5 in the vein of something like Final Fantasy 16 or something?
Oh wow.
I mean, could you? I
That,
mean, could you
that,
imagine that? That'd be awesome. Uh, let's see. I mean, Wonder Boy. I mean, we remember when the Switch came out, Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap came out with a nice
yeah.
remake. That was a Master System game.
I had Wonder Boy for the Master System.
Hmm. Yeah. So there. I mean,
No, I had Master Boy and was it Wonder Boy and Master World? I think that was it.
yeah. I mean, I think Wonder Boy and Monster Boy kind of are part of the same series in some
Yeah,
fashion.
it's very weird.
Yeah, it's a weird series that no one really understands or cares about. I shouldn't say that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there was a ton of great Master System games that people really like. I think it would be really interesting to see um, those kind of games and how, I mean, especially because like when you look at the NES lineup, I mean, there's a lot of great games on the NES, but there's also a lot of crap that people don't remember. And I think Master System was kind of caught in that too, where like there just weren't
Mm.
enough memorable games. Like, okay, yeah, they had Alex Kidd, but Alex Kidd doesn't hold a candle to Mario. Fantasy Star 1, although it spawned Fantasy Star 2 and 4, which people really love, like nobody remembers Fantasy Star 1, right? It wasn't until Genesis, until that console got big, or that series got big. So I would really like to see that come over. Also, there was like a port of Castle of Illusion on the Master System.
Yeah.
I mean, the Genesis came out in '89, and they were still porting games to the Master System. I mean, into the like the mid '90s, there were still Master System games coming out. So, which is strange, but you know, I'm trying to find some of the games on here. There's some Echo of the Dolphin games that were coming out. So, yeah, but that would be my pick. Would be a Master System.
Okay. For me, it's going to be now. I didn't know about the system, but I have heard of this brand, the Amiga CD32.
Oh yeah.
It it has the release date of September 1993, and it was discontinued on April 29th of 1994. The thing about it, this system, it was only released in Europe, Australia, Canada, and Brazil. Um, so it's another system. It looks like the Sega CD when it was like remade. How it had the Sega, the Sega Genesis, I should say, the Genesis part like on the left, and then the CD part on the right.
Uh-huh.
They had that like it was like I guess like it was a combo, but I think it was smaller. Uh, in everything. Yeah, it just it has some games on there, um but like all of them are like different IPs that I've never heard of and never seen.
Mm-hmm.
John Barnes, European Football, Jet Strike, Last Ninja 3, Lemmings is on here, Pinocchio, uh, the Clue, the Chaos Engine, Syndicate, oh my goodness, Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, Surf Ninjas.
Oh, that movie was wild.
The movie was awesome.
Uh, the Surf Ninjas had no, or was it no? That's Three Ninjas that had the gang gear
No,
in it.
no, it was Surf Ninjas.
It was Surf Ninjas.
Uh-huh. No, Three Ninjas had Mario 3 in it, which was how I found out about Mario 3 was Three Ninjas. I know everybody found out by seeing The Wizard, but I found out
Mm-hmm.
from Three Ninjas. So
Oh my goodness.
Surf
Because was
Ninjas
it?
Surf Ninjas had what's his face from Ninja Turtles in it too, so the second one, Kino. I forget the actor's real name, but
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. What wasn't they like playing the game and they was controlling the character or something
hmm
in the movie?
hmm yeah, I forget how they used it. I haven't seen Surf Ninjas in like probably
Years.
20 years, 25 years at least, maybe. Nah, it's been longer than that. Jeez, I'm old. Probably like
I
closer
remember
to 25 years.
I remember seeing it on HBO. I never went to the movie theater to go see Surf Ninjas.
Man, good times.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Amiga CD 32 would be my choice.
Hmm.
Corey, you got one more?
One more. Oh man, I thought we were gonna have a couple more, but I only have one more. I gotta make a good pick here, Ed. I mean, Saturn would be the easy choice. Sega
Mm-hmm.
CD would be the easy choice, but I feel like Sega CD would just kind of merge into the Genesis catalog.
You go to the 32X.
Yeah, I mean that too, right? Man. Okay. So I'm gonna pick. So this is like a very, very, very old uh idea and a very, very old console. It's kind of like the original home console. Right after Pong came out, people were very excited to play Pong. But the Magnavox Odyssey,
Yeah.
which came out in 1972, Ralph Baer was the lead engineer. He kind of just called it the brown box. And so like there were, let's see, a little bit of history. It consisted of a white and yes, brown box containing just 40 transistors and 40 diodes with wires connecting to the TV and two blocky controllers. The games on the console were basically many variants of Pong, had no sound or color. And color was achieved by placing plastic overlays over your screen. over your screen. So this was, I think that would be interesting only from a historical aspect. Although I would actually like to see something like Atari 50 come out, but to have like the Magnavox Odyssey, ColecoVision, Intellivision, like all those kind of like, first and second gen video game consoles in one collection and kind of put them all in one collection as like a, hey, here is video game history up through 1982 or 3 or whenever the ColecoVision came out, which was what I guess 82. I think that'd be really interesting. And that's your Gen 1 video games, right? I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
Odyssey, the ColecoVision, and the Intellivision are like what are considered Gen 1, right? So, well, maybe ColecoVision was kind of Gen 2 with the Atari 2600, but um, that would be really interesting to see video game history, in my opinion. So that's my pick.
Okay.
You're lucky
My
I didn't pick
last.
Saturn.
Excuse me.
Sonic 3D
Uh,
Blast.
oh my goodness, that game. Goodness. But you also had Panzer Dragoon and Darkstalkers, and
Oh man, dude.
like the Capcom Fighters on Saturn was top tier. Like if you
Oh
wanted to,
yeah, that's why you bought Sega. That's why you bought Saturn and Dreamcast was for the fighting games.
right? But you had that. What was the RF part?
Soul Edge was there too on Saturn, which was the
Really?
progenitor to Soul Calibur, right? Am I not?
No, no. Soul Edge was on PlayStation One. Soul
Uh,
Calibur. Soul Calibur came to PlayStation One. That's when they did the name change. Because Soul Edge was the game in arcades, and I think they changed it when it came to PlayStation One.
no, you're
Just
right.
still very weird on why they changed the name.
I thought it was on some sort of like classics collection. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Whatever. Shut up, Ed. You were right. I was wrong.
Eh,
I hate you. You're fired.
But I think Virtua Fighter was on Saturn.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Dude still want the Eternal Champions remake. That's the fighting game that, man, Sega actually did have a lot of fighting games. Eternal Champions, Virtua Fighter. What was that? They had a robot kind of fighting game. Uh, I
Um,
know Sonic had his fighting game. Goodness, what was that? Is it Virtual On? I think.
Cyberbots, was that it? I
I
typed
think
in
so. Yeah.
I typed in Sega Saturn fighting games. Oh, I forgot. X-Men versus Street Fighter was on the Saturn. Uh,
Yes.
um, X-Men Children of the Atom, which was like the X-Men only fighting game.
Yeah,
Man,
because I think that was the first X Men that Capcom was doing before
yeah,
they started doing the versus one.
it was X-Men Children of the Atom, and then X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then it was Marvel vs. Capcom was the order that those all
Okay,
kind of came
yeah.
out in. Man, Capcom
More.
Capcom must have been releasing a new fighting game like every 3 months.
Dude, Capcom, when it came to fighting games outside of Mortal Kombat, you had two people running it, Capcom and Neo Geo. Like they were running the fighting games. But Capcom just had so much because their controller, their art style, and they were easier to learn and stuff. And they were just changing stuff up because Mortal Kombat, as good as it was, it didn't really it really wasn't doing nothing until, I mean, Mortal Kombat 2, yes, that was very popular, but like Killer Instinct came out, it was beating Mortal Kombat. And Midway had to take ideas from Killer Instinct and put them in Mortal Kombat 3. But shoot, Capcom was coming up with a whole bunch of different fighters in Japan and to America.
Mhm.
Marvel vs. Capcom, um, uh, goodness, Dark Stalkers, Pocket Fighter, and everything. Like they just had so much. It just like I said, the stuff that was in Japan that never came here, was just impressive.
Yeah.
And it was just like that hand drawn 2D sprite stuff. And then when they started merging it with 3D, yeah, shoot, Power Stones, like Capcom was running it. I think Bandai Namco didn't start running. I mean, yeah, Bandai Namco had Tekken, but then they also had a game called Warlord. Uh, for Namco, Midway tried to do War Gods and stuff like. But Capcom, man, they were literally running it. And then
Mhm.
Marvel versus, like I said, Marvel versus Capcom 2, that became the leading game. Like if
Mhm.
it's just a history of jumping from big fighting games. For a lot of people, Street Fighter 2 um was the big one, and then I would say Mortal Kombat 2 became the next big one, and then Killer Instinct, later on, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was the big one, and then Soul Calibur 2 was another big one. And then Super Smash Brothers, like Melee on GameCube, was just another big one.
Mhm.
Um, Even though you had Tekken and Tekken Tag, um, I can't. I don't know which of the Tekken games, even Dead or Alive. Like I don't know, but like Fatal Fury, for Neo Geo, King of Fighters was the big one because it took all of their fighting games and put it together. Big history. uh,
Hmm.
so I apologize. I know that's not the topic and stuff,
No,
but
it's
yeah,
fine.
Saturn, man, they had the top tier because in reality, that was the only way you were getting the Capcom fighters was on Saturn.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong.
So, so Well, my last one is the Engage.
Oh no, gross.
And the reason why with the Engage, because I think people really wanted to have a system that could play different games, even though they would be poorly looked at graphic wise, and you didn't have to take out the phone battery to change the cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's the I think Tomb Raider was all Engage.
Yeah, Tony Hawk was also on Engage.
Uh so because I'm like I wouldn't pick the Wii or Wii U or 3DS like or even Retro Boy. I'm like we talked about those and everything like and it's not even the N64 DD I will put on it because there just wasn't much. Now I kind of I would love Nintendo to have a Nintendo channel where they have canceled games that got finished but never released. I would love to have that on Switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's an interesting choice.
but but Corey, which one do you think will come next? Out of all the systems that we name,
Oh,
which
boy.
one do you think would be the next one?
Man, my hope would be Dreamcast, but
Mm-hmm.
man,
I
I think
agree.
I my hope would be Dreamcast, but I actually think it's either going to be Game Gear because they're working so well with Sega or
Mm-hmm.
TurboGrafx. I think those are the two that you would be looking at me like, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? Especially if you're looking at the Virtual Console on Wii
Yeah.
and what games or what systems were available there.
Because was Neo Geo on Wii also? But see, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pick Neo Geo, even though I said Neo Geo Pocket. I wouldn't pick Neo Geo because of the arcade archives and a
Yeah,
lot of the other games
yeah.
that's
I'm
on
trying to.
eShop.
Well, I was going to say Atari 2600, but the Atari 50 collection is out there, and then the
Mm-hmm.
Activision, Atari collections are out there. So like they're already selling those, so they're not going to come to some sort of subscription service, right? Although,
Right.
I mean, that could change if like when this Microsoft Activision deal closes, and like there could be some sort of Atari whatever because Activision has like half the IP that were on the Atari. Um, Interesting history. I suggest you look that up. The Atari Activision split. So, but anyways,
Mm-hmm.
um, if I think if you're looking at that, I think TurboGrafx would be the more interesting answer, but also I could see Game Gear coming just because they introduced the handhelds now, and that's Sega's handheld, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stick with Dreamcast because Nintendo would be crazy to pass up on Dreamcast. Sega also would be crazy to pass up on Dreamcast. And man, like, shoot. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. This is so wild of a take. I don't know it's gonna be off the handles. But literally, if Microsoft snuck in Dreamcast to come to Game Pass, I would literally sign up right then and there. It'd be like to get Dreamcast games on Game Pass, sign me up. And if the list is literally strong, I'll sign up for Game Pass to play some Dreamcast games. But if Nintendo sneaks it up, yeah, I'm good to go. Like you said, give me Skies of Arcadia. Shoot, give me Soul Calibur. Give me that Genesis 6 game collection. Um, Shoot, if y'all could bring Space Shuttle 5, give me that.
Oh no,
Crazy Taxi.
yeah,
Power Stones. Shoot, Legend of Kang 2. Not Razor's Edge.
Shinobi,
Not Shinobi. It's from the Legacy of Kain series.
Blood
Um,
Omen, Blood Omen?
Brazil. Um,
I don't know.
it was like the action game with the other character.
Soul Reaver?
Soul Reaver. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I think that was Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, it was.
I think. Yeah.
Man, there are so many Legacy of Kain games. I didn't know there were this many.
I didn't know neither. I think some of them, most of them came out on PlayStation 2. I did own the first one, and then I thought Soul Reaver was the second game, but it's like a side game to the series.
Yeah. Well, it's one series, but there's like 2 series in that series, right? I mean, it's Blood Omen, and then Soul Reaver is the other one, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if we'll end up getting some sort of remakes or remasters of those. I've always been interested in those games. I had one of them for Dreamcast for a while, but I don't know what happened to it. So.
I think if you didn't play Soul Reaver, did you? Or Dreamcast? I think if you would have played Soul Reaver, I think you would got a better understanding of Tomb Raider, the modern day Tomb Raider, and everything. Because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Crystal Dynamics did have the foundation for these modern day Tomb Raiders, and it was because of Soul Reaver. Yeah. Like, and the best version to play it on was Dreamcast. And everything.
Man, old games, am I right?
Yes. So, but everybody, I think that's going to be it for this episode of Expression Pass. Thank you, Corey, for going down memory lane with me with some of these consoles.
These are fun. Everybody. These are fun conversations. I mean, I wish we had more time to actually like plan, like have docs and plan these out. But like a lot of these, we just kind of like on a whim, just be like, no, let's do this topic tonight. Okay. And, I mean, we've kind of talked about that recently of like, we need to kind of get this stuff back on track. But I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's just schedules and time. And I don't know. Ed and I have had a few discussions on consolidation and trying to figure it out too. Not just PAL Block stuff, but like all of Boss Rush content. And I know Stephanie and I have had separate conversations too, and she has some ideas that I'm interested in hearing. So I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I don't think it's anybody's. I mean, I don't think anybody's questioning that PAL Block is really important to us. You and me specifically, not necessarily people at Boss Rush, although you guys should think it's important. So we're going to figure it out. But
yeah,
even if we have to get up at 4:00 in the morning, Ed, and record, that'd be an interesting idea.
Getting up at 4 in the morning
and recording before.
Oh, well, sure. 4:00 whose time though?
I don't know.
Because your 4:00 is about 3:00, and
I know.
my 4:00 is your 5:00.
I know. No, we'll figure it out. It's fine. Maybe if you live in a normal time zone, Ed.
I do live in a normal time zone. You're the one that's an hour ahead of me. Corey, you already know that's going to be. If we both just woke up at random times, because we have done that and texted each other like, hi.
Yeah.
If we just happen to look on, like, let's just say Nintendo Life or Twitter or whatever, and a big story drop that I would be like, oh, you need to hurry up and get 10 minutes on the mic, and we need to talk about this. Like, if Nintendo drops some news, oh, I need you to be on the mic and be ready to go.
Yeah.
Because today, shoot, if I woke up and I see Miyamoto retires from Nintendo, I need you to get on the mic ASAP. I don't care what you're doing. I'm like, roll off the bed and get on the computer. Get on Zencaster or his link. We need to talk about this.
Yeah. Well, Ed, it's been fun.
Yes. Well, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
Nintendo Expansion Pass is part of Nintendo Power Block and is a product of Boss Rush Media LLC. The show is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio, and is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-host is Corey Dirrig. You can find Corey at I Am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. Follow Expansion Pass as part of Nintendo Power Block and on all social media platforms at Power Block Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.